Hey you guys, here's the gear for today. We're going to revisit War from Barrister and Mann, the Four Horsemen collection set that he created in recent months. We're going to be working it up with one of my favorite brushes, as it turns out. I liked it so much the last time I used it, I'm using it again. It is a version 9 Fanchurian knot in a Chisel and Hound handle. And man, it just was the right kind of things that I really enjoy in my brushes. Soft tips, but not super jelly. Easy movement of the bristles, fairly easy splay, and large, kind of felt like a big bear hug. The size is not really that high on my criteria list, but this one really takes advantage of that with all its other good feelings. So it's risen to the top of my brush list, and I didn't see that coming. Hardware is the Usta blade. We're going to try this in my 46 gap WR1 razor. It is a finicky head because it's so mild. It's definitely out of the standard range for Wolfman. And Wolfman, I think it's from the old days of the regular polish, I don't think it's in the newer years where you can choose between like 3 different polish levels. So the Derby Usta, since this razor is so finicky, and how I know this is I've tried it in a lot of different blades. Because it's so mild, that's why it's so finicky. And that's kind of true with many mild razors. You kind of have to search for the blades that work best in it, because just like a bell curve, if you've got a razor that's kind of mid-range, a bell curve kind of goes like that. If you've got a mid-range razor in terms of aggression, a lot of blades will work with it. But if you get really aggressive or really mild, the closer you get toward those extremes, at least in my experience, the number of blades that work really well with it for you and your face changes, and it gets to be a much smaller number. However, I have found several good blades that work in this guy. In the top of my list, as I get my face a little bit, top of my list was the Pole Silver and the Gillette Spoiler. Now that's kind of unfortunate, right? Because that is 2 blades. Those are 2 blades that are discontinued, and so that's problematic. However, I have enough Pole Silvers, I think, to last me, and I have a few spoilers, but not really very many. But those are, and then the other one was the Gillette Nasset. I shaved with a Nasset with this one, and of course I've got tons of Nassets, and so at least that's good news. Now, but that was like amazing level experience. Okay, there's still several blades that are more modern, contemporary blades like Astra Platinum. I think even the Treat Platinum, the Permasharp. Those are more modern ones that did well, where I rated them as a 4 out of 5. They didn't quite reach the amazing, astounding level, but they were still very good. And so I'll be happy with those. And I'm glad about that. Here is the thing about War. I've used it once. I bought it new from Barrister and Mann because I looked at the 4 scents that they put in this collection. Plague said it was very kind of herby, florally, herby, that kind of thing, because he was coming at it from the angle of the plague doctors and how they had sachets of herbs on them or something to help to try to ward off the evil demons or whatever it is they were trying to do. And that's the one that I didn't think I would like, so I haven't tried that one yet. I bought War and I bought Death. Now, Death was a little too kind of herby and florally or something for me. It just didn't quite have what I was looking for. And so I'm probably going to sell that one. But War, I liked it. As I was shaving with it for the first time, that was my first and only shave with it so far. I was shaving with it for the first time and I thought, I don't know how I feel about this. But by the end of the shave, I realized that I did like it, and I'm looking forward to shaving with it again. So it's one of those that's kind of intriguing. And it is polarizing. Matter of fact, on Reddit a few weeks ago, we had a thread on there, worst scents of 2022. And then a previous week, somebody mentioned about how this was horrible. And there were just a small number of people, it seems, that liked it. And I am in this camp. I used it once. I kind of used it without looking at people's reviews. I used it before there were lots of people responding about it. Cilantro is the scent. I should have said spoiler alert. Cilantro is a scent that people perceive from this soap. And I get that. I'm a big cilantro fan, but to me, this maybe smells more like parsley, but it is in that kind of family. And I think maybe what it is it's that hot metal, the scent he's using to try to do the hot metal and the gunpowder, maybe that almost like an aldehyde type scent, combining with maybe the resins and the moss, and that is putting together to add up to something that's kind of unfortunate for a lot of people. Now me, I'm not taken so quickly to the cilantro vibe because if you put your mind in a place of hot metal and moss and resins and things like that, it's doing it for me to where I'm enjoying it. It's almost like a fantasy scent of exotic worlds, unreal situations, truly a scorched earth kind of war scenario. And I'm able to pull that out of that. And so even hearing, I was afraid that once I read that cilantro was a big deal here, I was afraid that I would then try this. Cilantro would be in my head from that point, and then it would lose its enjoyment. But I honestly don't think so. Let's just see what happens as we shave with it for the second time. So I'm using a brush that I just super enjoy with this. We are trying out, I've already loaded the razor and blade. So let's do the loading here, and we'll do 20 seconds. This holds a lot of water, so that's why I'm kind of giving it a little bit more vigorous shake than I usually do. 40 rolled around right there. That's a good time to do a 20-second time. Frothing up pretty quickly. And there we go. We even got past that early froth to to something that looks a little bit more like a lather. And then I'm going to use, as you can see, I've got more of a beard today than I usually do. It's been a few days since I shaved. Shoot, it may have even been a week or 4 days or something to that effect. All right. It looks like this was a little drier of a brush than I often start out with. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of water, just kind of kick things off. But I got a feeling once we keep working at it for a bit, it's going to wake up just fine. Maybe my vigorous shaking was too much. I bet it'll be all right. It's a dense knot, and so you can feel that as you're working it in the bowl. Once it gets a lot of lather inside of it, it expands pretty large. So people do certainly respect Will for his scent creation abilities. He just has so many good scents that are genius, that are above and beyond. Yeah, he started his own barbecues, perfume branch there to make colognes and stuff that were not shave related necessarily. I don't know how that's taken off. I know that was a couple of years ago or something. Hopefully he's doing well with that. But see, that's his genius. Is he's so good that he could do that. He with I think so many of us could easily shave with Barrister and Mann products for the rest of our lives and never be bored or never get tired of it. I'm one of those people. But with all that said, people were talking about the war like it was horrible. and that's their opinion, you know. And I could certainly imagine if a person tried a sample of this or bought a tub of this sight unseen, because he certainly didn't mention cilantro in the description, that I could imagine how they would react the way they did, because it's very polarizing. And I contacted Will and I said, man, I'm so glad you created this scent. I think it's interesting, it's intriguing. To me, it does take me to the place where you're supposed to be taken with a scent like this. That was his intention. War, it's not supposed to be pleasant. It was supposed to evoke those, doom, desperation, those kinds of emotions, and that was his whole point. And as you can see, we've got a nice little cream going on here, creamy type lather going on. I think I'll add a little bit more water. So I couldn't wait to try it again. After reading all those reviews, it looks like, since I'm a fan of Chiseled Face Midnight Stag, which is very polarizing, I thought, well, here we go again. Maybe I'm a fan of this other scent that is quite polarizing. And it would seem so. It looks like maybe I'm in the minority. So in terms of Barrister and Mann War, if you have an aversion to cilantro, then maybe avoid it because that may kick in. But me, my mind is able to go to the non-cilantro place and kind of take the scent for the desperation and the hard times and the notes that it was talking about here. I'm able to smell that moss and the resins. The citrus, it may be in the background for me. I love the gunpowder type scents and the hot metal, what he was trying to, because that really is very similar. Yeah, I think the hot metal note is in there, and I think it's just combining with one of those other ingredients to smell like cilantro. Unless, did he put cilantro in here to try to have that type of effect, Certainly not, right? So, there we go. Nice creamy lather. This is Omnibus. It's a very good base. I don't know if I need to add any more. Oh, that's right. What happened last time? No, that was with something else. That was with another soap. I'm going to add a little bit more water. So with another soap that I mixed it up right in the bowl where it looked right. Got it to my face and it actually needed a lot more water. So it just didn't quite reach the maturity in the bowl. I was kind of in a hurry anyway. It's possible if I would have kept working it in the bowl, I would have discovered and that it did kind of mature and have the water mix so that I realized that it was a little too dry. Let's go with this. Get my face a little bit wet one more time. Man, this brush, I liked it so much. First time I used it, we'll see if I get the same enjoyment this time. Pretty much, yeah. Looks like maybe my beard face oils are dampening down the lather. So I'll add a little more lather to the brush like I just did. All right, let's see what the Usta does in the 46 Wolfman. This is a drippy lather. Moving through the hair pretty easily. Not easy like butter. After all, this is maybe the 8th or 9th use of this blade, so it's definitely not fresh. I could definitely get a different experience if it was a fresh blade. But it's not a, and it's, so I'd say slightly tuggy. But this is almost an unfair comparison, so I'm not going to dock the blade at all for that. What we'll do is we'll see how it feels now after we've removed a lot of the growth. And a little bit of a rinse. Wow, that was a lot of growth removed. So I'll bet I could even walk away with a 2-pass shave if I felt like it. Oh yeah, this brush just tremendous. I don't know, I haven't done as much research into the Fanchurian knot versions, you know, so I don't know if 9 here is a departure from other versions. I do know that the early one that I have in my inventory is maybe version 3 or less. It almost has too much backbone for me. So it's very different from this one. This is a wet lather. Very slick. Some people say if you ain't dripping, you're tripping. Some people like their lathers this wet on purpose. I kind of mainly for practical reasons. I don't really want to get my shirt this messy every time. I've come to not mind it as much as I used to. It used to bother me. So this is a pretty good blade for this razor. It's feeling a little not quite up to the task even at this stage. So maybe the Usta not quite a good match for this head. And I'm judging it now on that second pass, not on the first one. Holy cow. I could just about do a pass with all the lather that's on my shirt. So I'm going to say the blade has been effective. It feels a little tenuous though, almost like it doesn't have proper support, but we know that this razor has that support. We know that it has a very nice clamping toward the edge here with this one. And so it must be the edge or the way it is being held with the geometry of the top cap and the safety bar. And it's just not a good match for me. It might be great for you, but it's definitely serviceable. I've just shaved with 2 passes and I could easily quit this shave right now. Definitely. Not a problem there. I'm going to keep on going though, just so that I can kind of savor this scent one more time. I don't think it changed too much from the puck as I was describing it to you. So that 20 seconds, I think because my beard kind of killed the lather, I might want to go for, in retrospect, a little bit more than 20 seconds next time, just to kind of have some margin, a little extra. You may not see very much on my face, but see, this is a good base here, this Omnibus. And so, matter of fact, when you're shaving, anything that's above just such a small amount on your skin isn't really helpful. It's going to get pushed away by the razor like a rake. Only that little micrometer of lather that's next to your skin is what's doing some practical benefit for you. Now this, of course, is super comfy because, you know, we're trying to cut off the last 1 or 2% of the stubble length, and so it is moving very nicely. So, and this is something you have with the mild razors. You know, if you have to go deep into your shave and shave more in some areas, that mild nature of not exposing the blade very much is beneficial, because you're not gonna get that usually blade irritation, razor burn. And there we go. So I would say I would rate this as a good blade for this razor because it's very effective. Not quite as comfy, but I might change that rating once I try this a newer blade with younger than 8 shaves in this razor. But to be honest, when I want to rate a blade in a razor, I kind of don't want to rate only as the first 2 shaves or something like that. I want my rating to reflect the true lifespan of the blade. And generally, I'm likely to use a blade at least 15 times, sometimes more. You know, I do a lot of marathoning with my Nasset and some other blades. And so as a consequence, I don't go a whole month long on a blade like I could, but I just don't. I want to switch blades, that kind of thing. And so I want to have the knowledge and the rating of a blade and a razor combo to reflect a larger lifespan than just the first couple of shaves. So I think that might be the 3 might be 3 out of 5 might be an accurate rating for this particular combo. So the War, right? I like its scent strength. It's decent strength to where the during the shave, not only while I was working it on my face, but even now, it could be because of all this mess. It could be. I'm enjoying the scent. It's strong enough to where I'm able to apprehend it. There are some soaps that only give you enough strength to smell it and enjoy it when you're working it on your face. And then when you take the bowl away, you take the brush away and you're shaving, you don't smell it quite as much, or it's only lightly there. Well, that's not this soap. That's not this base. Something I really like about Will and how he powers his soaps with enough juice to really let you enjoy the shave process the whole way through. And just like I said in the beginning, I don't think I have too much to change about that as it got wet versus it being dry. The moss is there in that kind of herby, not herby, but floral growth, you know, type scent. The hint, I can kind of perceive some gunpowder in there. That hot metal. Yeah, that's an interesting smell, right? To try to dictate. And so, but since it's combined with these others, I think it's hard to actually try to perceive a hot metal scent in there. What I am perceiving is a hot metal with some other stuff with it is what I can picture. And I think that's what helps me. Do I smell any citrus? It's still a supportive roll, quite a supportive roll there. And so the hot metal is one that my mind is able to keep in the hot metal corral and not let it leak over to cilantro, right? So if you are into possibly divisive scents, then and unpopular scents, I like Dr. Strangelove by Dr. John's. It's an aldehyde type scent as well, very in the same family as this one. So if you do like Strangelove by Dr. John, there's some potential here for you. This is in that same kind of genre. And so if you're looking to expand from, if you like that Dr. Strangelove and you say, hey, I really would like more like this, then I say check out War. He does have samples available, probably at Maggard, as well as his own site. I think he started doing samples. So, very nice. I actually have researched And I found that as other guys were talking about since, they were describing Famine in a way that I thought might be really good. Reading it, it didn't jump out at me as one where I'll just go ahead and buy that. However, reading other people's reaction to it, other people's opinions on it, I thought that that might actually be something I enjoy. So I was able to find somebody that had one that was used, and I saved a little bit of money. Looks like he barely used it at all, if any, right? Maybe over here. And this has a dryness to it, as you can probably think of by Famine. What are the notes on here? Yeah, dust, hunger, and then citrus resins, moss. See, that's the common notes. Those are the common notes that you will see in this series, citrus resins, moss, and it's a championship level combination, and it's a good reason that we'll put that together in this collection. So dust and hunger is what he's trying to reproduce. It does smell like a little bit of a dusty scent. I'm getting a little bit more floral than I might like, but I think it's not so much. Let me rephrase. I'm noticing a little bit of floral in there with kind of the dustiness and the resins especially. I don't think it's going to be too much floral for me. And so I am looking forward to trying this. Matter of fact, I'm going to try it right now in a way because surely using the splash of a scent that's in the same family as what I just used, there'll be enough common ingredients that it will not clash. So I bet that's true. So let me give my face a good rinse before I put the splash on. So definitely no irritation today with the shave. I do feel a little bit down here, but honestly, I don't really quite know what it is. And it's just a slight tenderness, nothing like irritation. So it was a good shave in terms of comfort. It was, like I told you, a little tenuous, and so it didn't feel as smooth as a better combination of razor and blade would be. I'm going to give this a little bit of a shake. Famine as the splash. So let's see what happens. Will didn't really mind, based on his responses to people's comments on that particular day. He didn't really mind that not everybody liked war. This is really pretty nice. This is definitely more like a more enjoyable scent, a more acceptable scent. It's more in the typical fragrances that you might get. There's that floral. Now something else is coming out in it. What did he use to make the dustiness? It is kind of a dry, aridness a little bit, but the florals are actually coming in and helping to dampen that a little bit. You could have made it a little more harsh by not putting in those floral. Oh, there's some spice right there, like bay, something like that. I don't really like the bay. It could be, it's in that family, like cloves and bay and allspice or something like that. But it kind of makes me feel like a bay rum impression. That's what my mind is going to. So yeah, this brush did a great job today. It always sprays big after I give it some towel treatment and then open it up a little bit. You can see just the flex that the bristles have from their normal straight out trajectory. And so they have enough bend, enough willingness to bend to make it a nice comfy brush for me to use. And it's definitely plenty big enough. Got to measure that with some calipers and see. So that's interesting with the Famine. Oh, now the florals are starting to back off a little bit in the splash. Let me first say that it definitely agrees with the war because of those common ingredients. But that dustiness and the kind of florals are definitely overshadowing the war. The war has not left anything around that is really still perceivable because of this splash scent here. I'm liking what I'm smelling now better than what I did when I first put it on. And I should say that Barrister and Mann, you know, they used to have a non-alcoholic splash. And theirs is quite good in terms of skin food. It's one of the things that he's adamant about. This one does have alcohol in it, but it's got it's got witch hazel, leaf water, and a bunch of other ingredients, root extracts, and things like that that are going to be good skin food for you. So that's a good thing about Will. So this is morphing into something. I think I'm smelling a little bit of the citrus now. It's morphing into something I enjoy more than when it initially was applied, this splash. So that'll be interesting to see. That'll be fun to watch the soap and see if it does the same thing when I use it. Upcoming as well is Smash from Mammoth. It's a new one. It's based off of the Smash alcoholic drink, the cocktail. And this has peach as well as booze and stuff like that in it. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I was going to use War earlier, but I couldn't find it. I just recently had a cleanup operation, and I'm very glad to say that I found the War, and so I used it today. So the Usta does not go to the top of the list in terms of the blades that the 46 here, 46 gap Wolfman WR1. In terms of what it likes and doesn't like, it's not going to be at the top of the list on that, but it's reasonable. All right, well, this will be a very interesting scent to walk around with now. Are the other elements present in the splash? The moss, resins, citrus? Yeah. Dust, hunger. I don't know about hunger. I could kind of perceive a little bit of dust. I think I've definitely used something that made me feel more like a desert than this does, more dusty. But I guess obviously he didn't want to head in that direction. But in terms of Famine, yeah, I don't know if it necessarily hits the mark with Famine, but it kind of leans that way a little bit. We'll see if it's going to be enjoyable in the long term. I like it pretty much well right now. Pretty much well. All right. I guess I'll quit talking now. That's the best I'm going to do. You guys, thank you so much for your great comments over the years. And look forward to talking with you later. Derby Usta, Wolfman WR1, 46 gap. The soap was War by Barrister and Mann. The brush was a Chisel and Hound, Fanchurian version 9. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys, goodbye.